Welcome back to Dark Corners Streaming.
You see, it's an old house. Old and dark.
A few years ago, we reviewed James Whale's The Old Dark House, adapted from the novel Benighted by J.B. Priestley. Today, we're looking at the 1963 remake, which you can find on YouTube, with the opening credits illustrated by the great Charles Addams. This was a collaboration between horror's king of the gimmick, William Castle, who directs, and Hammer Horror, providing the production team and a British cast.
Oh, not me. I'm American.
Plus Tom Poston, starring as outsider Tom Pendrell. This version draws far less on Priestley's novel, most notably reducing the number of guests to the titular house from 5 to 1, so he is thoroughly outnumbered by the cast of English eccentrics, featuring such notables as Robert Morley,
Agatha, I believe you'll go on knitting right to the grave.
Joyce Grenfell,
Oh, I'm Casper's mother, Mr. Pendrell.
and Fenella Fielding,
A guest.
in what seems like a dry run for Carry On Screaming.
You're damp.
Despite all the hints that something is going on,
Something terrible is happening here.
and people starting to show up dead, the emphasis is very much on humour. Mostly pretty broad, though there's still room for the sort of wicked, dark humour that Castle loved, and which you expect to hear delivered by Vincent Price.
You know, it's not every day that we have an American for dinner.
The plot that emerges involves the will of a long-dead pirate,
Tonight is the anniversary of great-great-grandfather's hanging.
and the film rattles through the genre trademarks: trapdoors, sinister entrances, flickering lights, and grasping hands. It's all there, and yet it all feels a bit flat. It lacks the bite of the best of Castle. It lacks the atmosphere of the best of Hammer. It's a laugh, but it's just too silly to stay creepy.
You collect hyenas?
Also, I did feel that in the rush to box tick every old dark house trope, they forgot to incorporate those tropes into the story.
There's a pattern for murder. The rhymes, the bells, the clocks, the tape recorder.
Which is an odd criticism because the Whale film, which I consider a minor classic, barely has a plot, and yet that works while this struggles, and the inevitable comparison is always going to hurt the remake.
You hear that? It's just the beginning.
The bright side is the cast. Tom Poston was still relatively early in a career that would see him become a mainstay of US TV comedy.
I'm getting just as batty as the rest of them.
And the British cast all have form. Peter Bull you will recognise from Dr. Strangelove.
I'm frightened. I need your help.
Danny Green from The Ladykillers. Jeanette Scott from School for Scoundrels.
The family. You must leave while there's still time.
Well, what about you?
And while it would be nice to see a cast of that calibre in a better film than this, it's a pleasure to see them anywhere. Hammer's James Carreras said, "I cannot think of anything more loaded with commercial possibilities than a marriage between the chill and chatter schools of Hammer and Bill Castle." That turned out to be wrong, but it's Hammer, it's Castle, it's a great cast. It's worth a watch. Just don't expect anything too much. Thanks for watching. Anyone out there think this is the better Old Dark House? What other horror films get by on a great cast? Let us know in the comments below.